So, we learned about what a function actually was in the last video. And in this video, we're going to talk about something called function notation. Function notation is the form we write functions in. So first of all, by and large, the most common example you'll see of function notation looks like this. There's an f for function, if you want to think about it like that, and then in parentheses, you have an x. And then there's usually something on the other side. So maybe equals x plus 4. Or something like that. First of all, in terms of how this is pronounced, this is an example of function notation. You pronounce this guy right here, f of x. So you'd say f of x equals x plus 4. And this is signifying to us that that is a function. When you're first starting out with function notation, a lot of kids find this f of x right here is just your output variable. So this is an output variable. It's where you're going to put your answer when you do the problem. This means the exact same thing, this whole guy, as y equals x plus 4. That f of x is like a fancy looking variable right here. Then it means the same thing as y basically. You might also see things like there's nothing that says it has to be f of x. You could see something like g of x in a problem. Maybe g of x equals 1/3 x minus 17. You could have, there's nothing that even says you have to have x. You could have h of t. You could have g, I already used g, I guess. You could have w of y. That's just basically function notation. This and then something on the other side, maybe t squared, and this would be like the square root of y, just to make up a few examples. Those are all examples of function notation. So, I want to practice actually applying function notation in this video. So, we have f of x, I'll just copy that down again. F of x equals x plus 4. And they could ask us to say what f of 10 equals. Maybe they also ask us what f of -1 is. So our job is to solve for that. Now when you see this notation right here, this is pronounced f of 10. Basically what happened, it was f of x, but now it says f of 10. We replaced our x with a 10. So since we replaced our x with a 10 on this side, we're going to do the same thing over here. This is basically saying plug in a 10 for x and solve. So that's going to be what we're going to do here. If we plug a 10 in, we get 10 plus 4. So f of 10 is equal to 14. Same deal on this one right here, f of -1. If you plug a -1 in to x up there, you get -1 plus 4. My answer is positive 3. So f of -1 equals 3. I want to wrap up this video by doing another example. Sometimes you'll have multiple functions being discussed at the same time. So let's say, typically what they'll do is they'll put a couple at the top like this. Maybe f of x equals 1/2 x minus 5, and g of x equals x squared. And they might say find f of 3, find g of, making up numbers here, 1, and find g of -5, or something like that. So the letter tells you which function to use. F of 3 means we use this function. We're just going to plug in a 3 for the x over here. So we get 1/2 times 3 minus 5. If you write it as a decimal, that's going to be 1.5 minus 5. It'd be -3.5. You could also do -7/2 if you wrote it as a fraction. That's fine too. G of 1, you plug in a 1 right here, you get 1 squared, which is equal to 1. And g of -5, when you plug in a -5, remember it goes in parentheses. -5 squared is a positive 25.